Welcome to the Orange Hammer Podcast. My name is Corbett Storick. I've been a licensed general contractor for 8+ years, specializing in new construction, renovation, furniture building. I'm the son of an architect and an interior designer, and I've been surrounded in this industry since birth, watching all aspects from concept, design, build, punch list, and of course, all the problems that come up in between. In my time in Durham, North Carolina, I've noticed a significant gap in knowledge between homeowners who need work and the people who do the work. On this podcast, I hope to break down the process of homeownership from the perspective of both the homeowner and the contractor in an effort to help raise the knowledge of homeowners about their homes and the construction/renovation process. I hope you enjoy. If you're enjoying the Orange Hammer Podcast, or if you have a topic that you want covered, or have recently done a project, please contact the Orange Hammer Podcast. The Orange Hammer Podcast is on Instagram and Facebook. Please like and subscribe, share on whatever platform you're enjoying your podcast on. Also, check out our YouTube channel, The Orange Hammer. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by CRS Contracting LLC for all your construction and handyman needs, new buildings to renovations, furniture building, EV charger install, or even a TV mounted. You can call me, Corbett Storick. It'd be my pleasure to help you. You can find me on Instagram at CRS Contracting. WSDG, the Walter Storick Design Group, specialists in architectural and acoustical consulting. Check out WSDG.com. And Taylor Bragg, for all your artistic needs in all mediums. You can find her on Instagram at brag_about_art. That's brag, BRGG, with 2 G's. She's the fantastic artist behind the Orange Hammer logo, and she did my fantastic table painting of my podcasting table. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by Stacy Sloan with Keller Williams Elite Realty, proudly serving the Durham and Triangle area for 25 years. Call Stacy at 919-972-1180. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by Rachel Z with Rachel Z Real Estate Team Realty. From the Triangle to the Triad, call Rachel Z at 919-323-6068. All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Orange Hammer Podcast. Today, my guest, Ervin Williams, is in the house. Ervin, how are you doing today, man?
Very good, man.
I appreciate the rescheduling. I know we're different towns away, and thank you very much for the lovely bottle of wine. You join a very short list of guests who bring me stuff, so that's pretty awesome. So, yeah, let's just jump right in. What do you do for a living?
Man, pretty much just hustle.
Let's hustle. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then let's narrow it down to how we interacted.
All right.
So, out of the blue, at least for me, I got a call from you that was like, hey, the organization that I work for or represent, I'm not 100% sure, is looking at a commercial building in downtown Raleigh to rent very long term, something like 5 or 10 years, and turn it into, if memory serves, it's like a late night burrito place.
Early morning and late night.
Okay, early morning and late night.
So breakfast and late night.
Okay, gotcha. And so you were like, hey, I need somebody like in the construction world to come like inspect this building.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm happy to do that. And I think I brought my HVAC guy out there.
Yep.
And so we can dive into that a little bit. What was like, so let's back it up a little bit. What's the name of the company?
The name of the company is the AMPM Company Incorporated.
Okay.
However, we have subsidiaries. AMPM Burritos is the company that we want in that downtown Raleigh commercial building for our restaurant. Hence the name AMPM Burritos.
Right. AMPM. That makes perfect sense.
So I guess I'll speak in reference of AMPM Burritos for our conversation.
Right. So are you like employed salary by AMPM, or are you like a contractor? Like, what's the affiliation?
So I created all of it.
Okay.
That's why I say hustle, because the AMPM company is the umbrella company. It holds all of our companies.
And that's your company?
Correct.
Okay. So how did you start that?
Man, so I'll have to answer it in two different ways. So like I said, I was always a hustler growing up. So I mean, throughout all my life, I was always business minded. And everybody has interest in a lot of things. So I'm no different. I have a lot of interest in a lot of different businesses, and I can spot opportunities, and also I have some history within myself to where I could leverage that into different industries and create a business or whatever. So that's where the AMPM company comes from, because finance, real estate, we're going to be in venture capital soon. Right now we're in hospitality and consulting. So on the other part, how did I create AMPM Burritos, the subsidiary of AMPM company? Well, I was in the Navy for about 10 or 11 years, and I was stationed in Little Creek, Virginia. I was deploying, and while I was on base, there was a breakfast food truck that had some delicious burritos. And I didn't want to keep deploying, so I thought, why don't I franchise their food truck? Because the lines are always long, the food is delicious. I mean, it'd be a no-brainer. And at the same time, while I was thinking of that, I was trading stocks while I was in the Navy at the same time, another hustle. And I was just thinking, how could I continue to trade stocks, but also, have a base salary for myself to where I could provide for my family? And I needed something that could coincide time-wise, because when I trade, the best time to trade is in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I was like, both of these can go hand in hand. Have the breakfast food truck to support us, but also be able to trade if I have to run both simultaneously.
Yeah, because the food truck is like, it's a very hands-on thing if you're running it every day as the cook who's got to like shop and cook and find a commissary. But but the level up, which would be you as like owner / investor / I don't know, principal partner, whatever title you want to give, is a little less hands-on. You need to check in every once in a while and make sure that everything's good and that they're actually like out there, cooking it up. But it's less like you're not chopping onions. You're not shopping for food. Yeah. So a couple of questions on that. You said that like you were always business minded. You said you had developed skills before this. What kinds of skills and where did you develop? Did they come from the Navy?
Well, when I say skills, I mean just being able to spot the opportunity before it becomes about,
How do you do that? Also, how did you get that skill?
It's life experience, to be honest.
Okay.
And you need mentors in your life. If they don't come to you, you have to go to them. So I just constantly was in the library reading books on how people did X, Y, and Z, how within their industry they pivoted certain ways. And then with life, that just came about being able to see people doing the exact same things of the people that I read about, and to see different ways of how the world is moving, how just trends are going. Just, I guess my ability to spot trends is a gift that I would say.
Okay.
That has allowed me to put myself in certain positions to capitalize.
What'd you do in the Navy?
I was actually trained as a hospital corpsman.
Oh, okay.
Basically, a Navy medic. For the people who don't know.
100%. Yeah. It's just a different term for the Navy, but corpsman is basically medic.
Yeah. But then towards the end, I flew drones.
Okay.
So on paper, I was a corpsman, but when I deployed, I flew drones.
Okay. Did you ever like drop bombs and stuff from those drones? Can we talk about
that's
it?
Classified.
It's classified. Gotcha.
But I did see some crazy shit.
There's a village in Afghanistan that will never forget me. No,
I mean, there was a lion and ISIS, and if you didn't get on their good side, you became the lion's lunch.
There you go. I mean, this is in the news. This is not, uncommon knowledge. Yeah.
And I saw footage.
Saw some crazy footage?
Let me not say that. There may be some footage.
There may be some footage that you may or may not didn't see, but definitely did. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. If the Navy's listening, we none of this is true. This is all a comedy hour.
I still got my clearance.
Oh, okay. So, if you're the drone guy, you're not like going over to wherever they send you with like Kevlar and an M4, or are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
so like my question is, do you get to keep that M4? Like, is it in a closet somewhere in your house?
Crazy? It's weird because when people leave the military, somehow, some way, I don't know if they just buy a different one and to match their military issue one.
Okay.
And they just have a replica at home, but somehow, some way, people end up with the exact same rifle that they got in the military. They have it at home.
You know, the clearance, as you know, even after you are, for listeners especially, after you leave, you still are a military person forever. Yeah. So as far as like the gun store is concerned, at least in America, you can buy military grade stuff. Like, for example, I can't buy anything full auto. You can go into you can go in and buy a full auto version of like my AR.
You know what? You could, but you have to get a license through like ATF to get a full auto rifle.
Do you mean the tax stamp?
I don't know. I was watching a podcast and it came across.
Okay. Because I've looked into like for me, the standard civilian, right? Yeah. Like, you know, I can go in and buy pretty much everything off the shelf because I have a concealed carry. So I can get like all the handguns and all the rifles. But if I wanted a short barrel rifle, or SBR for terminology, I need that tax stamp. Like, I can't just go buy that.
I think that's probably what
it's the same thing for suppressors. Those have a tax stamp as well. So like, if you go into the store and I pay them $800 for a suppressor, and all I got to do is screw it on to the end of my gun, I got to wait like 8 months to a year for the government to like send me the tax stamp. Yeah. And the crazy part is, I can go into the store and take my suppressor and use it in the range in the store, and then come back out of the range and hand them back the suppressor. I just can't take it home till the tax stamp comes in.
That's wild.
It's I haven't done any of this because I just have no need for a short barrel rifle, and I have no need for a suppressor.
Have you ever shot with one?
I have never shot with a suppressor. No.
It increases your accuracy, man.
Okay. Well,
by a lot.
I gotta tell you, I was the most accurate person in my concealed carry class. Yeah. And I don't plan on doing a lot of long range shooting, but I also don't have any threaded barrels.
But even on the pistol, man.
Yeah.
Even on the pistol, like, you damn there. If you have some sort of skill, the suppressor, for some reason, I don't know if it's the weight or if it like what it does, but it just makes it a lot easier to get on target and just stay on target.
Okay.
For me, at least.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I am not a physicist, nor am I a gun expert, nor am I a military man, but you are effectively creating a longer barrel. So in theory, it should be more accurate. Yeah. It should keep a tighter rotation, like a football spiral, and therefore go further. Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of dudes at like TSA, the Triangle Shooting Academy. They.
I thought you were going to say the other.
Like the airline company.
Beloved, yeah,
the beloved, our favorite people in the world. TSA, yeah. Rent-a-cops. Is that chapstick? Give me that chapstick. 3.1 ounces? Give me that shit.
Oh, my God, man. Travel equipment has never been more expensive since they instituted that rule.
Oh, yeah. It's nuts. I am the person now who, like, bought my own, like, pack of little 3-ounce squeeze tubes. So, like, I'll travel and I'll be like, this is my shampoo and this is my soap and this is my mouthwash. Look, just like, whatever. We got the studio dog joining us, Willie Bear in the house.
Little one.
So when we met, I was very turned off by the two realtors that we met, to the point where, as I walked away with my HVAC guy, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Are they trying to take advantage of that kid? You being that kid. Sure.
And then I think I even called you on my ride home, and I was like, what is going on? Like, this is very strange. And for listeners, the tiniest bit of back, like when we walked into that building, I mean, condemned might be a little strong, but like you could see through holes in the floor.
Yeah.
None of the windows worked. It wasn't up to code. There was like gutted to the studs in areas. And, you know, I, with no backstory, was like, okay, you're about to hire me to do the construction. So I was like, okay, let's start thinking in that realm. And then these two realtors are like, no, the unnamed Russian owner is going to build this, but we need to know to what spec. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you need to supply your tenant, which in this case is you, with like at least like some sort of built operational safe building with heat and air conditioning and correct wires and windows that open and like sheetrock on the walls, like, or at least like a blank room where then you could throw up non-load bearing dividing walls if you want to take that second story and make office space or whatever the hell you wanted to do. So for me, I was just like very confused at like the timing that we were there, and extremely turned off by like the attitudes of those two realtors.
Yeah.
So I definitely wanted to get like your side of really what happened there.
Yeah, going in, man, it was a little weird for me too.
We can start off by saying like location wise, 11 out of 10. Like
easy
for you as a burrito spot in the morning, for the business crowd, and a late night burrito spot for the bar crowd. I mean, is it 11 out of 10? It was flawless.
Easy.
I'm not even like an expert on Raleigh in any regards, but like I have eyes. And I drove there from Durham, so I was like, okay, you're within a half mile of almost every bar that is known. They're all open till what, 2 or something like that. So if you had the 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. spot, there'd be a line around the block. You know,
it fits our target demographic with ease.
With perfect ease.
Yeah.
But then basically everything else, I was like, what is going on? First of all, who's this random unnamed Russian investor?
Well, they're no longer a part of it. They were so I tried to get that. As a matter of fact, let me let you finish and then I'll.
No, I was just like, I'm basically finished, but it was just very confusing. I was like, why is it like not even all the way gutted? And being shown. Like I was just very confused. Like it should at least have been like gutted and the holes made to a point of safety. Before you start like, okay, this is a blank space. Here you go. So it was very confusing, but please go ahead.
So the Russians are no longer a part of it.
Okay.
I don't know if their funding fell through towards the end or if they just decided to fall back on it. So it's now under a new owner.
Okay, so the unnamed or unknown Russians just have sold it.
I don't think they sold it. I think
did they not own it?
They were going through the whole process. So first, I initially contacted a different realty company. They were representing the Russians.
Okay.
First, I was trying to buy it, see if I could buy it. And by the time I tried to buy it, it was already going to be purchased by the Russians.
Okay. What does that space go for when you're trying to buy? Did you ever get a number?
When I looked up, I think it was 1.5.
1.5. And that's all 3 floors of that building?
Yeah.
So basement, main, upper, and the one next to it, or was that separate? Because I know it looked like one building, but there was definitely another door.
It's 2.
And that I don't know if they were a couple.
I think they're sold together, so I think it was 1.5 for the entire thing.
Okay.
And it was under contract and everything whenever I called to find out if I could get it. And
to the Russians.
Okay. Yeah. So then the gentleman told me, hey, it's already under contract, so, best of luck somewhere else. And then comes around, and now it's under new ownership, represented by a new company.
about when did that happen?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But I do know it was under new management by the time I contacted you. I was still under the impression that it was still owned by the Russians.
Okay.
But now it's new ownership.
Because those realties made it sound like it was the Russians still as well.
Yeah.
Those two realtors. I don't know if they were a couple, but they looked like a couple.
Nah, but they're working together.
Okay.
I don't know at what capacity.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not super well versed in the commercial side of real estate. I've been told as a very general statement that it's less volume but much larger listings. As a commercial realtor.
Profit-wise?
No, like for example, like if you're in residential like homes, you're trying to sell, or have your buyers buy, as many possible homes in a year as you can, I sold 450 houses this year. Like that's incredible. But the markup is very small.
Okay.
Whereas in commercial real estate, again, this is what I've been told. Don't know if it's true. If you're a commercial realtor, please contact me, correct me, and come on the podcast. But what I've been told is it's like when you're in commercial real estate, you're less amount of transactions because they're huger and take a lot more time. So that lady and gentleman that we met, they might spend the whole year working on just selling that building and maybe like 2 other buildings because it's a long process, but it's a huge sale price and a bigger market. And so but again, that's what I've been told, not by enough of a reputable source that I know if it's true.
I can see that being true because you got coding that you got to worry about.
Yeah, and it's a much longer process to sell and or lease out a commercial building than it is a home. It's like, oh, you want the home? Cool. Put up some earnest money or due diligence, get your inspection, approve or don't approve, fight at closing. You could have your house in 45 days. Whereas like a commercial thing, like it could take 8 months just to jump through all the hoops and deal with all the shit. And you're, at least for them, they weren't even selling. They were thinking about just renting to you. It was very confusing.
So actually what I found out so I got to know the gentleman a little more. I asked could I meet him the next day just to see like what was up.
Okay.
Not even to see what was up, just so he can get to know me.
Just to get a coffee or whatever.
Yeah. Because I've never been in that kind of situation before where we go in and we're not being sold the space. Now, the space did sell itself, but I tried to do duplexes or triplexes. I tried to do real estate a couple of years ago before I deployed. And the gentleman for the residential was trying to sell me the space. So I was under that impression that I would get a tour, essentially. But this time, I didn't get one. I don't know why. The space was small. You could see from front to back. This is what it is. But, still, it was a tad bit weird. But from what I have gathered from him, he's a workaholic. So what I'm assuming is that it was, hey, you see the space. It is what it is. Because this guy does deals that are some for real deals. So he's like, yo, if you want it, it's here. But I don't have to. I'm only gonna deal with serious people. Essentially, is what I got.
Yeah, to me, it seemed like he was deeming you an unserious candidate from the start. To my interpretation of how the conversations were going.
Yeah,
and then also he kept asking you questions that in my head I was like, it's not possible to answer those questions based on the condition of this space.
Yeah.
Because you can't, how are you going to ask, how is he going to ask you what you need?
Yeah.
And say things like, everything that's broken will be fixed. Well, what do you mean? Like, are you going to hand us a freshly painted space with new floor, or do we have to put down a floor? What's the HVAC system? Are you going to get it all fixed? What's this panel needs to be upgraded? Like, are you bringing it all up to code on your dime and handing us a split? Because, like, if not, we would have to work that in, or you would have to work that into your price. So it's it was just like, I don't know. To me, it just seemed like he wrote you off immediately. Like, this is just some kid trying to look at some space. And I was like, this dude just owns a real company. Like, he arranged for this. He gave me $100 to join him to really look at stuff. Like, it just seemed, I very much was not like attracted to the way that they were interacting.
Yeah, it was a little off-putting, man. I did feel a little bit disappointed and a little bit hurt a little bit. Because it just, I put a lot of work into it, tried to impress, even dressed the part and everything. And I was like, yo, let's get it.
I mean, you showed up with an HVAC specialist and a general contractor. I mean, that's professional as shit. And we were dressed up. I had my work shirt. He had his logos and hat. Like, we were there, clipboards and flashlights. Like, what more do you want? Like, so.
But the guy is chill, though.
Like, no, I don't have an issue with them as humans. I interacted with them for like 40 minutes, and most of it was like me observing a conversation between you and them. I was just like very confused by the, like, for lack of a better term, the like nonchalantness and just like kind of brushing off the questions. Cause I think even I was like, so you're going to fix this? And he would just say things like, the owner will bring it all up to whatever. And I was like, that's not really enough information. Especially on that second floor that was kind of like half gutted.
Ooh,
Like, are you ripping out the rest of the walls? Are you going back up with new sheetrock? Like, is this going to be this kid's office space, or is he going to rent that out to another company? Like, the potential's through the roof.
Man.
Yeah. Woo. So I know the next day you said you got a coffee with him. As far as that space, that building, have you continued to go after it, or have you moved to another, have you started looking at other spots?
Nah. So, I got to give you a story behind that building and looking at other spots. That building, like I said, we tried to buy it, or we was interested in attempting to buy it or whatever. And it went under contract to someone else. So we started looking at other places. There's another spot downtown that we're still looking at that has just as much as amazing potential, if not more. They both can compete with each other. They both have their pros and cons. One is better at this crowd. One is better at this crowd, but they both are wonderful spots. Needless to say, we never put all of our eggs in one basket, but we do put a lot of our eggs in one basket. So we are still trying to get that space. But, when we went down there, it was on the market, off the market. It was pocket listed.
Okay. Right. Now is it on the market?
Now it's on the market.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we got to face competition.
Also, real quick, who's the we? Do you have partners? Is it you and your wife? Like, who's the we in the AM/PM conglomerate?
It is me, and I have investors and also courting investors.
Okay. So what does that mean?
I have people that are interested. I have people that I'm trying to get interested, and I'm also always open to other people.
So, like, when you get this lined up and ready to rock, you're going to, like, reach out to a couple of money people and be like, this is ready to go. This is, and get more financing
throughout the entire process.
Okay.
So from right now, from months ago, telling them from idea to me serving you the burrito out of that spot, it's been both talking to investors and both selling them the idea, then I'll sell them the physical space, and then I'll show them the physical space.
Right.
But always trying to court investors and always looking for investors.
So as you sit now, are you good financially to go from where we sit to we're going to have a burrito, or at some point will you have to bring somebody else on?
I still need investors.
Okay.
But where we sit now, ooh, man.
If you don't know, that's an acceptable answer, too.
Yeah. Nothing is set in stone, but we are in a good position.
Okay.
But we still need capital.
Yeah.
And we still are inviting capital at the same time.
Gotcha. Well, I have some people I need to put you in touch with then, who might not be the capital, but know the people with the capital.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Look, AM PM is going to be more than just a food spot. It's going to be we are like all of Raleigh. Our target demographic represents who we are essentially, from top to bottom, business, regular day-to-day workers, athletics, education, first responders, like everything, man. Like
that what you just listed is your target demographic, you're saying? Or that's the fields you're in?
Yes and no to all of them. Like we're coming after everybody. Like Raleigh celebrates a lot of different factions of its community, and it tries to celebrate all of its community. We do that at the same time through our interaction with the community, but also our menu items.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you've developed a menu already of the burritos?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Our menu has been, we were a pop-up at first.
Oh, okay. So you've sold burritos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been doing this since last April is when we started. And we've been in all the communities of Raleigh. That's why I say, and we go out to certain communities of Raleigh at the same time. So they can get a feel for us. We can get a feel for them. They can know who we are. And we're, man, there's so many plans that we have for AM, PM, beyond food. We're like celebrating all of Raleigh because we're going to expand too. We have other cities that we're going to.
You better be in Durham, man.
This
is the cooler city.
We're coming to Durham soon.
Let's fight. Durham versus Raleigh.
Once we get established in Durham, that'll be one of the things, man.
Oh, I mean, I would probably invest in a Durham food truck today.
Yeah.
Just that I could eat at a breakfast burrito spot.
AM, PM burritos, baby, man. You'll love it, bro.
I mean, there is obviously the population is not the same, Raleigh and Durham, but to say that Durham is small is a lie. Like, it's not. And I don't know of a commercial spot, a hard brick and mortar in Durham, but I know without a doubt for a fact that if you had an AM PM burrito food truck in Durham, to say that you would do well is an understatement.
Man,
because I mean, like, I know you drive down Gear Street till you get to the old ballpark, and there's like a 4-block radius with 11 bars. And you just post up on the corner right in front of Motorco, once they stop serving food, and I mean, the flood that would come, like, it would be easy.
And we got connection throughout the city from the morning to the nightlife to where we could like position ourselves to just.
So would you, like, hypothetically wake up tomorrow and you're in business, would you like start serving at like 10 o'clock for the late night crowd and then just go all night till 8 a.m. or something? Or would you close down for a couple hours from like 3 a.m. to 5 a.m.? Like, how? Because you're trying to get that early morning business crowd, but then you're also trying to get that late night drunk crowd. There's really no lunch in the middle.
Yeah, no lunch.
But like, curious, does it make sense to close everything down or just have a slow few hours?
Man, for us, it makes sense. The way our business model is set up, man, it's like brick and mortar, but we're food truck at the same time. But no, we would close down. So we would operate from 7 a.m. till noon, close down, and then come about 9 o'clock till about 2 a.m. is when our nighttime would be available.
But don't the bars close at 2?
2 or 3. But that's the thing. We actually had
You wouldn't want to capitalize from like everybody getting kicked out at 2, then getting a burrito on the walk home or something?
We would extend to 3 if it was feasible, if it was smart to do. But I'll tell you a story. I was looking at this place on Hillsborough Street by NC State, right across the street from the library. It was the Wells Fargo Bank.
Yeah, I actually know. Yeah. I don't know a lot of Raleigh, but I know that spot.
Yeah, man, that spot we would have killed easily, but we didn't want to be just solely in a college area.
Yeah, you'd have to basically just accept that your audience is college or Canes game.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's 41 games a year.
Yeah.
Which is not a sustainable business model. But it's a nice flood, those 41 days a year.
Because it's a new consumer base every 4 years.
That's one way of looking at it.
It would never get old.
Oh, you mean college is new every 4 years?
Yeah.
I was like, the Canes are not.
Nah. But we're right across the street from the library, so I mean,
yeah,
it's going to be some new kids every couple of years.
Yep.
But we didn't want to, and our colors would essentially have to be red and white, which would not flow with our branding. But anyway, I say that to say this: being open from 9 to 2. We didn't want our nighttime to solely be based on just clubs.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of exclusivity, or like kind of like how Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. Like,
which is the worst move they could ever do. I don't understand. Yeah. I get that they're like a religious organization and all, but like that's when everybody wants Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Like everybody.
But most people, they either get a lot, they get more than what they want on a Monday, or they get more than what they want on a Saturday because it's going to be closed on a Sunday.
I don't know anybody who does that.
So
you know actual people who are like, yo, I gotta go get double on Saturday because I need my Sunday Chick-fil-A, and they just like microwave it.
No, not like save it, but they're like, man, what do I want? And they get this feeling of like, yo, I want some X, Y, and Z, but then they remember that Chick-fil-A. So pretty much Chick-fil-A being closed on a Sunday makes people get Chick-fil-A on a Saturday.
Yes. I mean, I guess. I don't know. For me, I'm just always waking up on Sunday, and I'm like, what do I want to eat? I don't feel like cooking. I should go get some Oh, right. And they're just like, okay, what's plan B?
All right, let me ask you this. Who got the best fries?
Who got the best fry?
Give me your top 3
we're
fries.
doing like fast food exclusively.
Yeah, fast food.
Okay, I do give number 1 to Chick-fil-A, but I'm a waffle fry guy.
Yeah,
right?
Man. It's hard to be a waffle fry.
Then number 2, I go the curly fry at Arby's.
You know what's crazy? Speaking of Chick-fil-A and Arby's, there was a guy that I met, a police officer. He goes to a church. His church member owns a couple Chick-fil-A's. That's why I was going to tell you about that story. He said he's not hurting for customers.
No, none of them are hurting for customers.
Yeah. He was like, Sunday is the rest day, bro. We're not hurting for customers.
No.
But anyway, I asked him the same thing. Yo, who got the best fries? He was like, man, McDonald's got some good fries, but it's hard to beat those curly fries from Arby's.
Yeah,
man.
the curly fries from Arby's.
It's hard to beat those fries, man.
And then number 3 might be the McDonald's fry.
You got to give respect to McDonald's,
but also
man.
I really love Five Guys fries. They're real. They're like thick and mushier.
Yeah.
Than like the crunch of a McD's.
Yeah.
But once we're on level 3, who cares?
Yeah.
It's Arby's and Chick-fil-A. I like them waffles and I like them curly fries.
Let me ask you this. I love Wendy's fries. Not over Chick-fil-A though.
No.
Where do you rank Burger King fries?
I don't with respect. I don't know if they outrank anybody, but they're always okay. If we're being honest, when I go to Burger King, I don't even get fries.
Yeah,
I roll into Burger King and I'm like, let me get a double Whopper with no ketchup.
No one knows who has the best fries, but everybody knows who has the worst. And it's typically Burger King. No disrespect, Burger King, if you guys want to invest in a quick serve business.
My favorite burger place, to me, has the worst fries to me, and that's In-N-Out.
Oh, man. Yeah. We have an In-N-Out here?
No, but I lived in California for a couple of years.
Okay.
And was just in San Diego for my birthday this past March.
Oh, yeah, that is right.
But like In-N-Out is my personal favorite fast food burger, but I think their fries are straight garbage. They're like super thin, super crunchy. You basically need a fork. And like, I know tons of people are like, yeah, you got to get them animal style, and it becomes a fork dish. And I'm like, that's not what I want. I want fries to have like a burger in one hand and a fry in the other. Yeah. That's just where I'm at. But In-N-Out still by far, like, they cook everything fresh and they win for me. I don't know if you've ever had.
I've never been out west. I've been to California once, but I was vegan.
Okay.
By then.
it's not a good place for you then.
Yeah.
It's like, you could get a grilled cheese. No, you can't have the cheese. You can't do shit there.
I was in San Clemente, I believe.
Santa Clemente. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I can't even. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good. I lived out there for like 2 years before I moved here.
Did you ever see? There's a bioluminescent beach near San Diego. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not heard of it. I have not seen that, but I am very familiar with bioluminescence because I'm a scuba diver.
Oh, word?
So, yeah. So, like, when you do night dives, which I've done a few, there's always a time where it's like, okay, you go, night dives are super, super shallow, so they last a lot longer. Okay. Because the deeper you go, the less time you have.
Yeah.
So, if you're in 20 feet of water, you could dive for like 55 minutes. So at like the 30-minute mark in a night dive, we'll all, someone will bang and be like, okay, come over here. You're doing this with your flashlight, which is the sign to come over here because you can't look up and see a guy go like this because it's dark. So you do this with your flashlight. And we all get in a circle and we all look at each other and we go, okay, everybody good? Everybody good? 3, 2, 1, and everyone turns their lights off. And so now you're in the deep, dark ocean with no flashlights on purpose. And then you start waving your hands in front of your face, and your hand hitting microorganisms that you can't see will cause them to glow and be that bioluminescence.
Word.
And you just see, like, it's hard to even describe without the tranquility of doing it yourself, but it's almost like you're creating fireflies out of midair.
That's dope.
Or mid-water, whatever you want.
I just visualized that entire moment, and so many emotions just ran out of my body, bro. I was nervous as shit. I was scared as fuck because as soon as you said your hand, you wave your hand. I was like, oh, because you want to make sure there's no shark waiting for you.
Oh no, sharks. That's not Sharks don't eat divers. That's not a thing.
Word. Oh, okay.
No. Sharks. When sharks attack humans. And don't get me wrong, when you're a diver, you must have the respect for the ocean. It's not like you just jump in there and you're like, nothing can hurt me. Like, yes, everything can hurt you. But to be honest, I've been hurt a bunch of times. It's always rubbing against fire coral. That's the part that hurts. You get out, big rash on your calf. Like, what the shit? But like, I've been this close, you and me, to a shark. And it's scary, but they're not interested. They're not interested. You don't look like food to them. You've got cables coming out of you or air tubes and weird colors.
So weird.
You look very weird to them. When a shark attacks a person, when they bite the leg of a surfer, you look like a seal. You look like a marine life that they're trying to eat. They're not looking at humans and they're like, oh, that's yummy.
Yeah. I can't wait for his ass to jump in here.
Not interested. They are not interested at all. Yeah. And in fact, their interest is out of curiosity because I've been in the greatest experience of my life was in the Maldives doing what's called an in the blue, which is like you could dive a reef, which is like there's all the coral and all the fish that eat the coral and live in the coral and it's colorful and beautiful. Or you can dive in the blue, which is like you jump in and you can't see the bottom. And you look 360 and you can't see there's nothing. You are in the open ocean. It's actually terrifying.
Yeah, it sounds terrifying.
And you have to really pay attention to your depth because if you're diving on the reef, you go to the reef. You can't go below it. It's the floor. If you're in the blue, it's a mile. So if you just keep going, you will just die. So you have to really be like, okay, we are stopping at 80 feet. And then there's a group of you basically floating at 80 feet in the blue. So
there's like physical movement.
No, I just like if in scuba diving when you're weighted correctly, you will raise and lower with your breath. Okay.
So you manipulate your buoyancy.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're wearing a tank on your back with your air hooked into an awesome looking vest that I could show you afterwards. And when you're in the boat, you put a little air in it with this button, and so you jump off, and then you dip below the water because you jumped off a boat, and then you're all floating on the surface in like a life jacket. And then you look at each other and you're like, everybody good? Good. Okay, let's go down. And you take the air out of your vest and you just start sinking because you're wearing lead weight on a belt. Okay. But if you're weighted correctly, which we're experienced, my dad, my family, and I were experienced divers, once you get below like 20 feet, you're basically moving up and down with inhale and exhale.
Oh, that's cool.
Because you want to be neutral. It's called neutral buoyancy.
Okay.
Right. And so really like when you want to go up, you just kind of start breathing and a little baby kick, but it's not like hard to move around. You're at zero weight up or down. So you're very like nimble. It's very, and you know, you're not doing a whole lot of moving around. You're mostly, you feel for which way the current goes and you go that way. You just go with the current. Okay. You could never fight it. So you just go with it and you turn with your shoulders. Like, it's not hard.
Have you ever seen, and I know you probably want to get back on the real estate topic, but have you ever seen, I forget what movie, but it may be called like Lost at Sea or something?
The one where the divers disappear?
The couple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horseshit. Absolute horseshit.
Hold on, there was an article a couple months ago. Somebody sued a diving company because they said they had gotten lost.
Horse shit. Those two... Like, in my opinion, they planned it, faked their own death. They ran from the law. They're on an island somewhere. Was
that a real story?
Yes.
Word up.
Yeah. The movie's based on a real story.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's called Open Water.
Okay.
But I could be wrong on the name.
Man,
but
I
it's
felt
like,
so bad for them.
But it's like, you're trying to convince me that when people come up, a random dude puts a number on a list. And they miscounted two divers. No, absolutely
you guys didn't
not.
Have to call out names at all.
No, the minute you all, first of all, you all surface together. So you all surface together.
Okay.
Right. If two people ran out of air, like they did in that movie,
yeah,
the person who was the partner of the person who ran out of air would never go back down with the other guy on the boat. That would never happen because you can't just go up and down that aggressively. Because you'll get the bends. You have to go down real slow, up even slower, do a safety stop at 15 feet for 3 minutes. Like, it's just bullshit all the way around.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
And then, like, the minute everyone's in the boat, and they'd be like, okay, everybody good? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, we're missing 2 people. They would never, they would just no. Just no. All the way no. Yeah, that movie doesn't scare real divers. That scares people who aren't divers.
But that got me a little nervous.
But I got to just finish this one thing. So we're in the Maldives. We're in the blue, right? We're at 80 feet, and there's nothing, right? You look all the way around, full circle, because you just go like this with your hands. And you do full circle, and then you look down. You can't see the floor. You look up. You can't see anything but the sun, and then out of nowhere, a 19-foot whale shark.
God bless.
And I'm literally, there's a video on Facebook. You'd have to scroll back a ways to find it, but I'm looking at you and you're my dad. And he's going like this, pointing behind me. And I'm thinking like it's a ray or something cool.
Yeah.
And you see me, like my limbs are all loose and spread out. I'm turning myself. And the minute he has it on video, I'm doing a 360. And the minute I see the whale, I go like this. And I'm like, oh my God. There's no cage, and like it's big. You know, they don't eat food, or they don't eat like that. They suck in like plankton, like a whale, hence the whale shark part of their name. So it's not like he was gonna swim over and bite my leg or even had the teeth to do it. But like, if he swam to my right and his tail just hits me, my bones would shatter. Like it'd be like being hit by a semi. Yeah. And so like, but this dude, there's a video that was taken by someone else. This dude's just curious, swimming in and out of our pack of divers for minutes. And we're just like, this is what we all dreamed of when we picked the Maldives.
Yeah.
And then some idiot grabbed its tail and it took off.
Ah, man.
And that's a huge no. They got the stink eye from everybody for the rest of the trip. He got like pulled into a private room by the dive masters, and they were like, I don't know how we have to tell you this, but you don't touch anything, let alone the whale shark. Are you kidding me?
Let alone a motherfucker who can fuck you up.
I mean, literally, but also like in general, skittish. They don't want to, and he was like, "Ooh, you guys seem cool and peaceful. Let me just swim in between you guys." It was unheard. Yeah, so that was like the greatest moment of scuba diving combined with the stupidest moment I witnessed all in one moment.
Have you ever been deep sea fishing? Not deep sea fishing, deep sea diving.
No. The deepest that I've gone does not qualify for deep sea. I believe the deepest that I've gone is 125 feet. And that was to explore a destroyed
That's pretty dope.
pier Destroyed.
What?
No, it was a hurricane destroyed the dock for cruise ships. And they rebuilt another one. And the old one became this amazing, it was like a Call of Duty war zone of just like concrete piers and tubes. Like if it didn't have water, it would be an incredible paintball site. And there's no fish. We're literally just exploring it because like we're going in these tubes and looking at destroyed piers and concrete and rebar and all this shit. That was 125 feet. And before that, 115 off the coast of North Carolina, actually, to see a German U-boat submarine.
Oh,
yeah, can't go in it, but we went around it. Yeah, it's a maritime protected historical site now, so you can't go in it. But the dive shop that we went with had like tons of stuff that they took out of that sub before it was illegal in like display cases and shit. Yeah. Because at one point it was like, you got gear, do whatever the hell you want. There was no like governing entity. Yeah,
that's typically how it goes.
Yeah. So they had like, you could see like a journal in German, like a little toothpaste tube of like German soldier toothpaste.
Cool,
like
man.
like a old artillery. Tons of cool stuff.
I went to the North Carolina Museum of, it's crazy, man. I've been spoiled my entire life and didn't even know it. Like, I didn't have all the resources I needed growing up, environmentally and, the funds or whatever. But, like, being in certain places, I went to a great high school. When I moved to Raleigh, lived in nice locations. Even doing business here, you got to mail in certain things and call, and sometimes they're not the greatest. I can just walk right to their office. Like,
especially like pre-COVID when everything was just open. Like, I remember dropping building permits off the city of Durham, and it's like, you parked in the loading zone. I was in and out in 10 minutes. Here you go. Here's the paperwork. Here's a credit card. Text,
man.
Call, email me if we're missing something. It'll take 5 seconds. Now it's like, that building's not even open.
Yeah. And now all my friends are like all over the state, and they're like, yo, we got to do business, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, you don't have to do it. Dad, just go down to oh, yeah, I forgot. You live X, Y, and Z.
Where are you from?
I'm from Fayetteville.
Okay.
But I moved to Greensboro.
Okay.
Then I moved to Raleigh.
Okay. Yeah.
But
so you went from like all military brats to why am I in the middle of nowhere surrounded by a bunch of music students to a real giant city. Yeah.
But like I say that to say this. I went to the North Carolina Museum of History. And, I'm thinking every city has one, but no, I forget Raleigh's the capital of North Carolina. But anyway, man, they had speaking to your German U-boat story, they got some nice things in there. Like, it's so surreal. I went into the chemistry department where they had like drugs or whatever, what they would take. And me and my family, we're holistic, and we only do certain drugs or whatever. And so I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm like, man, this is the same thing that like we take now. And it's just so surreal to see the history and all that stuff, man. And to just be able to touch it, but it seems fake in your head, but it's like, no, this stuff is actually real, man. Like, this is history. Like, this stuff actually happened.
What's even crazier to me is how it wasn't that long ago.
And that's what makes it so surreal even more.
Like, there's a comedian who talks about how long ago, like, America formed.
Yeah.
And that he's like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 this happened, blah, blah. And then he stops and he looks at the crowd. He goes, people live to be 100. That's 3 people ago.
Yeah.
It's only 3 people.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, it is 3 people ago. Yeah. Like, it's not that long. Like, this is yesterday. In the scheme of humanity, it's not even a drop. It's half a drop.
Man. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, I'm realizing it, but, like, I remember when people used to say, yo, I'm going to my great nana, I'm going to my great dad's house to visit, to see them. So they're still alive, and this stuff happened during their lifetime. Like, it's not that long ago. Yeah.
Like, my grandparents, we had conversations. They lived through the Great Depression. Like, I had conversations before they passed away. It was just, the conversations were amazing. I'm sure living through the Depression was atrocious, but like, I remember one time specifically, I was like, we were in their house and something was happening, and I was like, oh, you should just throw that out. And she was like, oh, we don't throw those out.
Yeah.
We save those. And I was like, really? She's like, honey, we lived through the Depression. And I was like, oh, this is just a different, this is a different thing. But I'm also from a family where, like, my parents and grandparents, like everybody was much older than the average. So like my dad now, I'm 32. My dad is like 76. So
okay.
like
I got you.
Like most people on average, most people have a father probably in their like upper 50s to lower 60s, right? So that's the correct ratio for my much older sister.
Yeah.
Like his first attempt at a family that didn't work out. And then when he met my mom, they had me, but obviously they had gotten older. So it's just like, I don't mind it at all. I get incredible wisdom from all their years. I have an older sibling, and I have a 19-year-old nephew that's like a best friend. I'm like, I'm not your parent. We're gonna just hang out.
Absolutely.
Yep. Normally your uncle would be the law, just like your parents. Whereas like, no, I don't even get along with your mom. You and I could just chill. Like, it's all good. Like, where do you want to eat?
Facts, though.
But it's just the crazy different family dynamics.
Would you want to have kids at an older age, or would you rather have them at a younger age?
I'm not gonna reproduce, but if I had to, But if I had to,
do you think you ever regret that?
I don't think I'm gonna regret that at all. Actually, I think that if I was going to do it, it would honestly be more dependent on my economic situation than my age.
Facts.
Yeah, because the age, just with like, obviously at 70, I would never do that because I wouldn't be alive to watch a college graduation.
Yeah.
But if we're talking, anybody listening can have an argument about what the correct age to bear children is. I don't even care what your opinion is because it's different. But like, if we're doing 24 to 40 as the prime time to reproduce, I don't really care what side. I just think that it should be a little bit more dependent on your resources, either your family resources, your land resources, how your home is structured, and obviously your fiscal fiscal zone.
Agreed.
I definitely have people on both sides of that who waited till things were good. They like knew they had this much money. One member of the household had such a good company that the other person could stop working and raise children full time. And then I have people on the other side of the spectrum who like had a kid because they don't believe in birth control.
Yeah, fucking like jackrabbits.
Yeah, and they just like they both work full-time jobs. If it wasn't for a mother of one of them to be the free babysitter, who knows what would happen. And like they live paycheck to paycheck, and I'm not in a position to say who's happier. But I know who's more stressed out. And who's like more worried about the financial situation. So like, but then again, that same person tells me that like, their argument would be like, if you waited till you were ready, you'd never have kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
trade-off.
And I'm like, I don't agree with that sentence, but I respect your opinion on having it. Like my girlfriend and I both don't want to reproduce. That's why we started dating, among the other things that we find attractive in each other. But that's a conversation I have with like, girlfriends very quickly. I'm like, look, it's not happening. I've got genetic defects I'm not passing on. I want to travel on 1 day's notice.
That was one of mine.
And I just am not interested. Like, if you want something small and cuddly, we'll get a dog. I've already got one. We get another one, but like, it's just not, it's just not in the cards for me.
And these dogs are interchangeable, baby.
Yeah.
The woman's mind is so, y'all change all the time.
Hey, I don't know if that's women specific. There are a lot of indecisive people.
For sure.
There's a lot of indecisive
But hold up,
people.
indecisive is different from changing.
Try building a house for somebody.
Jesus.
Try getting a client to pick what handle they want for their kitchen cabinets.
Bro.
You ever walk down that aisle at Home Depot?
No.
There's 700 options. And that's just at Home Depot. You go online, there's 7,000 options.
I was trying to do interior design for the building, and I keep changing the space. The skeletons stay intact, but the space, I keep seeing all these other different places that are
You need a professional, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you need my girl Carolyn.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
just
yeah,
give you
yeah.
her number. You tell her these are our colors, and at most you got to go pick some tiles.
I'm
pick
looking
some
for one,
cabinets.
by the way.
A designer?
Yeah.
I just said I'll give you Carolyn's
Yeah.
number. It's over. You look no further. Yeah,
For sure.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. If my mom wasn't retired, she'd do it because she was an interior designer for 50 years and extreme. Yeah, my parents worked together, designing and building. Like the top end recording studios for all the people we listen to, like everybody we listen to. And, from like Alicia Keys and Jay-Z to like Green Day and J. Cole, Kiss, Jimi Hendrix, like Daddy Yankee, it goes on.
What?
Yeah. But there's only like 3 people in the world who do that. And my parents' company is the best one.
Yo, that's dope.
So for me, it's like people sometimes ask me like, how'd you get into this line of work? I'm like, it was kind of in my blood.
Yeah.
Like I grew up the son of an architect and a designer who owned their own company doing this stuff. Like I've been around blueprints since I knew what they were.
Oh, man.
Like before I knew what they were.
That's one thing I'm trying to learn to study.
Blueprints?
Yeah, blueprints and electrician.
Okay. I would I'm never somebody to like steer someone away from education, but be weary about putting a lot of energy and time to studying electric unless you want to wake up and be an electrician. Just because like it's an aggressive amount of work and you have to do a lot of hours under a licensed electrician before you can even take the test to get the license. So that's why I'm just like, I would never say like go on YouTube, learn all you can, swap outlets in your home. But as far as like a career being an electrician, unless you really like have a passion for that and they're like, okay, this is what we're doing. And I'm bringing on other people to manage AM, PM. Like that's a full-time thing.
Okay.
Just to get the license. For the GC is a little different because GCs, even though I do a lot of my own work, GCs don't do any work. We just hire the electrician. And he's got to know the code, the electrician's code. And then I hire the plumber and he's got to know the plumbing code. And I hire the HVAC and he's got to know the HVAC code. I just have to organize and schedule that kind of. So it's easier. You don't have to have the years that you do for the trades. You just have to have like X capital and then take a test and keep your continuing education. So it's a little bit easier. Okay. Branching off a little bit, do you currently own a home? Have you owned one in the past?
No. Closest I got, like I said, former military. So closest I've gotten was to look into VA funding.
Okay. Yeah, I know somebody who's done that. They've had success. It seems to be a very good road for a smaller down payment. Yeah, that seems to be like they've moved away from that 20% to like 3 to 5%. Yeah, which is very, very. It's just much more realistic. Yeah. So you haven't. So we can't talk about any like projects you've done on your home because you don't have a home.
No, this is actually my first real estate project.
Okay.
You've seen.
Okay, gotcha. So where are we today in that project? I know you are still kind of looking at that building we saw. You mentioned there's a second building that you saw. Yep. Are you now in like you have to produce some sort of design and layout, or are you not there yet?
No, I actually so the other partner that was there, she's handling, I guess, the operational side. Okay. Like I said, he has a lot of other buildings. That building is like peanuts to his portfolio.
Oh, okay. So who is he to that building? He's just the realtor?
The representative, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure what his connection is to the owner, though.
So he represents the owner, or he's the realtor of record, or both?
Both.
Okay. And so, but it's even though it's not for sale.
No, it's not for sale.
You're doing lease. Yeah. Right. Okay. And he wanted to do like, some like very long amount of, it was like 10 years or something?
Yeah, I think it was, I don't know if he was dead set on 10 or if it was up to 10, but I personally want to do 10.
That seems like an extremely long amount of time to lock in a rent.
From what I've seen, and that's where we're at now, in the asking questions like, hey, if we want to leave, like, could we bring in a new tenant? Would there be a fee? I don't know if I know you're in the residential, but in commercial it's called key money or whatever.
Elaborate. I don't know what that is.
Essentially, it's the money that the new tenant pays the owner to take over the current lease.
Okay.
So, like, with that building, if I want a 10-year lease, it's year 7, and I'm like, yo, there's another spot I'm trying to get to, but I ain't trying to do them dirty, you know. And I know you got a spot. I mean, I know you trying to get a spot. This is a dope spot. Are you trying to get here? And if you say yeah, then I'd be like, all right, cool. Look,
so it's just like subletting.
Yeah.
Okay.
A payment for subletting, essentially.
Okay. Because like in residential, I would have to be, because I have 10 rental homes in Durham. I would have to be the stupidest person on the planet.
Bro.
Family partners and everything. We've done it all together, but it's going to work out in the end for sure. But it would be the stupidest thing in the world for us to give anybody a 10-year lease and lock in a rent for 10 years, because 1 year later, or realistically 2 years later, it needs to go up.
Yeah.
And our taxes will go up and we'll be making no more money.
Yeah.
So we've maxed at 2-year leases. We give them to tenants that have already like done a year and have proven to be immaculate tenants. And we'll be like, okay, we're bumping your rent up. It should go up 200. We'll bump it to 150 because you're awesome, and we'll give you a 2-year lease. And we're 100% of everybody being like, thank you, that's incredible. But it just, in our minds, you start weighing like, okay, if they leave and it's empty for a month and we gotta repaint it and clean it and pay somebody to find a tenant, like, it would have just been easier to give them $50 off a month. We would have spent way more giving, like, then we got to give them the security deposit back, and then we got to pay Weston Woodall to find us another tenant and repaint the house and clean the house, and, you know, not that we wouldn't fix anything, but fix whatever is, you know. And it's just like, you know, if they're good, we have all our rents on auto pay, so we don't have issues there. It's actually a requirement.
Word.
It's in our lease.
That's dope.
Like if you can't do auto pay, you just can't rent from us.
Damn.
We just can't. Like in the modern world of digital banking, if you cannot handle an auto pay one time, you set it up once, yo. Like it takes 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you can't handle that, you can't rent from us. So it's just in the lease. It's part of our addendum.
Word.
Yeah, we just don't. We had one tenant that was dicking us around, always with an in, always not with the truth.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
like, we're small time. You have my cell phone.
Yeah.
So if you need 3 extra days, this is what you should do. Hey, Corb, we're sorry. We're going to be 3 days behind. Can we meet up Friday instead of Wednesday?
Yeah.
My response will be, thanks for the heads up. No problem.
Yeah.
But if you text me the day after the rent was due with an obvious lie about how your bank screwed something up, I just, like, first of all, no, they didn't.
Man.
Like, no, they didn't. They didn't screw your auto draft up. You didn't have enough money in your account to do the auto draft, so you had to cancel it. Like, just tell me the truth. We're adults, you know? Like,
man.
But, you know,
it'd be embarrassing sometimes, man.
I mean, I'm sure that's not a fun text to send, but, you know, when you do what I described 6 months in a row, we are not going to write you a good recommendation nor renew your lease. And there you go. So it just, like, we just, you know, it wasn't going to happen. And then I had one tenant randomly was like, hey, can I give you cash? And I was like, I mean, I guess. And it was like 20s.
Yeah.
It was like $1,500 in 20s. And I was like, I know you're a waitress, but damn, like, whoa, like, this is a big ass stack. I got to walk into a bank and be like, I would like to deposit this clear drug dealer money. Like, shit, man. Like, not a good look.
Yes, that is room freshener spray on those.
Yeah, right. We ironed them. We ironed the corners out. Yeah.
Oh man.
But no, I mean it's
so the tenant actually pays the. I don't know if you ever heard of a triple net lease.
no, I have not.
In the commercial space, it's triple net. I forget what the 3 N's stand for, but I know one is property taxes, and the tenant pays the property taxes.
Whoa, that is insane.
Yeah.
Man, the property taxes are so much that would be crazy
It's
to
like
pay that.
built into it or something.
Oh, okay. So the rent is $1,800, but it's really $1,500 and $300 a month just goes to the property. Like they just figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I guess at some point we have done that. No, we don't do that. We have professionals who know the correct rates.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, what's the max we can get? And they'll say, 1,800. So we'll go, okay, list it at 19. If we get no bites, we'll drop it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we do. Yeah.
Smart as shit.
I mean, you're always trying to, it is a little bit of a middle ground of like, okay, obviously you want to rent for the most amount of money.
Absolutely.
We are a for-profit business. We are not a charity.
Yeah.
Right. But then at the same time, it would be nice to have really, really good tenants.
Yeah.
That take care of the house, want to renew, have good communication. So it is a no-brainer to trade $100 below what it would rent for a good tenant. Like it's not even a competition. Like that is
term.
Yeah, that is a very, very simple trade that we just did. Like we just renewed somebody for a 2-year lease, like I said. And I told them right up front, I was like, look, if you moved, we would relist this at X. We'll give it to you for X minus 50, but you got to do a 2-year lease and at the end be prepared for it to go up, and they were like, that is awesome. Like we're totally good with that. And they're not even up to renew till December, but they were like, we're worried it might go up so much in case we have to start looking. And I was like, let me find out what it should go for. And we worked it out in simple lease extension form, which we just made up. We just typed that shit out.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Yeah. It's a very simple move. Yeah. So, okay. So sorry. So back to where you're at in your process of trying to get AM, PM burritos, some brick and mortar.
Yeah. So we're still trying to get that location. We're in the process of seeking out funding, waiting to hear back from banks, waiting to hear back from potential investors. And like I said, always open, always open for new investors. Or resources that could lead us to new investors as well. But yeah, that's pretty much where we stand. We got the game plan. We got how it's going to run. We got the operational side. We got the back end side. We got the location. Now we just waiting on the money to be put in our hands, and then it's go mode.
At what point do you need actual plans of the physical space of how you're going to build it out?
Man, we haven't even gotten that far yet. You mean to be approved by them?
Either. I mean, I don't I guess I'm still confused about how it would actually work. Like, are you going to be like, this is what we want the space to look like, and you hand them a plan / a rendering, and then they go build it on their dollar? Or are they going to gut the space, assuming we're talking about the one we visited? Are they going to gut it further, do the repairs? Like, there's a fucking hole in the floor. It's like a big hole in the floor that if I walked on, I would have fell to the basement.
So,
and I should have and sued their ass. I'm very confused. So are they going to fix that, or are they going to give you $10,000 to then fix it? You're going to need a permit with the city of Raleigh or the Wake County or whoever the hell to build anything. Yeah. So in order to get a permit, you need a plan.
Yeah.
So how's that going to work?
Essentially, bro, they kind of been looking out for me. There is now listed. Like I said, they pocket listed it for a while and even gave me about a week extra before they told me it was going to come online.
Okay, because they were hoping they could just lock you in. and not have to list
me
it?
or somebody.
Right.
It wasn't just me because they've gotten calls about that space and they were like, "Hey, it's not online yet, it's not live yet, but it is coming." So they were still conversing with people, and they were telling me like, "Yo, people were calling." So we're not waiting on you, but we're waiting on you for right now. So now I'm kind of like facing competition, but still in the leader pack. So they're renovating it actually, or I don't know if they're bringing it fully up to code, but I do know they're cleaning it out, they're gutting it, and they're cleaning it up.
Okay.
But I say I don't know to what extent because I did just speak with the other partner, and I was discussing, hey, if we build out the entire restaurant, what would that look like as far as the other things that the entire building needs? And if we build out our part, what would that look like, when it comes to rent? Can we get some reduction in that? What if we bring in on extra tenants, reduction in that? Like, how does it look if we do all the build out, half the build out, and no build out at all? How does that look reflective on us paying you?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this folds out. I have done one commercial job in my career, and it was a tattoo parlor. Shout out to Jeff at Happy Hearts. He was actually kind enough to come on the podcast and discuss how it all went.
Jeff.
And he, pre-existing strip mall in Hillsboro, next to the Home Depot, next to the Walmart.
Yeah.
And, in between the cigarette store and the Papa John's, some store went out of business. And it's one level concrete slab and 2 windows and a door. He got a box.
Yeah.
He got a box. But it had, one wall separating the main from the back and a bathroom. And there was nothing else in there. So he was like, okay, I need this one wall demoed. And then he had me build him walls that were only 4 feet tall to create cubicles, kind of workstations for tattoo artists.
Yeah.
And then add a break room and a sink, very, very minimal. It didn't even break $30,000 because I can't do commercial jobs over $30,000 without a commercial license.
What?
That's just the law. I have a residential license, but this was a $24,000 job. It was not a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was very little, but there was no work that needed to be done in terms of is this a safe place to enter or anything like that? It was ready to rock. The lights worked. The plumbing was good. We just had to turn the water off and add the second sink. We ripped out this wall in 2 seconds and then reframed the new walls the next day. It was so for that client, Jeff, and for me, it was very clear. Yeah. He signed a lease before he spoke to me. And he was like, I own this. Here's a plan of existing. Here's a plan of what I want. I was like, okay, let's price it. If I can do it under 30 and make money, let's go.
Yeah.
And if not, we either have to split it into 2 separate jobs or I got to pass it on to somebody commercial. Luckily for him and me, it all worked out. But it was very, very, very clear and cut and dry in terms of what was going to be maintained by the people who owned the strip mall. The exterior door, not on us. Because they all had the same windows and commercial glass door that if there was no issue, but if there was to develop an issue, he just makes a phone call to the landlord in this case, or property man, whoever the hell it is.
Yeah.
But if the sink breaks, that's on him. And he'd text me and I'd call my plumber and we'd just get it fixed. But it was just it was super clear and very straightforward. So I've only have that as my anecdotal experience.
Yeah.
So it's night and day hearing the experience that we kind of shared and what you're going through in regards to just not really getting clarity of this space is not even safe to just walk around in. There's exposed wires and holes in floors and windows don't open and this, that, and the third. So it's just it's interesting.
I wonder what their hesitation was to build it out. But my only thing would be, I think they're trying to provide opportunity for someone.
It makes sense why they didn't build it out. I'm confused why they didn't like
clean it up.
Just clean it. Like the second floor that has all these non-load bearing walls.
Yeah.
Rip them all out.
Yeah.
The windows that are rotted and broken and don't open, replace them. Yeah. Like you have to. Like you can't put that on the tenant.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could. I don't know the laws, the rules, but that seems very strange.
Yeah.
That it would be the dude who runs a burrito shop's responsibility to fix the windows upstairs on the exterior wall. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems strange. Like, get that shit fixed before you rent it. Or at least, like, you don't need to know who's going to rent it to upgrade the electrical panel and make it like a modern panel with enough circuit breaker space to accommodate whoever, you know.
Got you.
Like you could like there's a base minimum in my opinion, there's a base minimum it should have been brought into.
Yeah.
Where you basically have 3 massive open rectangles minus anything structural.
Yeah.
Be like, here's our space, ready for you to move in tomorrow and start building. If you want to put up 18 walls and make offices, cool. Yeah. If you want a big open dining room, cool. If you want to build a kitchen, cool. But here is an open spot that is like clean, nothing rotten.
Yeah.
Like it can't, I mean, I say it can't like I know the rules. In my head, it can't be your responsibility to fix the rotten hole in the floor.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. That's some structural damage.
If that was our responsibility, then we would have to get so much money knocked off.
That's what I'm saying. Like that is such a heavy unknown for you to even talk to an investor. Yeah. I might need $200,000 extra for a renovation, or I might not. Like what? Yeah. Like if I was your hard money guy, I would be like, guess what? I need to know.
Yeah.
Like I need to know. That's like a crucial thing. So it's just very interesting, and I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, man. I wonder.
And get a burrito. Let's be honest.
I think they're looking for what we want first, and then they're going to say, all right, well, this is what we can give you.
Right. So you kind of do need some plans.
Yeah.
You need some, at least like you need some plans, or possibly even like a digital rendering.
Yeah.
Of like, this is what the dining room will look like. We're going to need a wall here. This is where the kitchen's going to go. We're going to need a wall here and a window, or like this, we're going to not have dining. We're just going to do a serve window, or like, I guess you kind of need to know that so that you can both talk to the people who own the building and your investors.
Yeah. I think what our next steps will probably do, I think we've both been waiting on each other for plans. You know, they want to know what we want to do. We want to know
what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That seems like a very strange standstill that they couldn't be like, we are going to, you know, for example, fix everything rotten, make all the windows work, upgrade the electrical, and clean it out, and then you take over. Like it should be pretty easy, in my opinion, which is worth nothing for the record. That should be pretty easy for them, A, to do, but B, at least be clear and be like, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna have to take it from here. So bring us your plans, and then we'll have a meeting. But if they're not gonna clearly tell you what to do, how could you know if you need $40,000 to upgrade the electrical?
Yeah.
You don't know. And that dude, the male half of those two realtors, he just kept nonchalantly saying like, we're going to fix everything. They're going to make it all brand new before you move in. And it's like, what? That's like everything?
I guess that was some information that we didn't have.
Yeah. It was pretty strange.
Yeah.
But
I mean, hopefully that is the case though, because you're going to do everything.
I mean, they're definitely not going to like build out your final kitchen and do your final paint. So you're definitely going to have to do some stuff,
sure.
but like
facetiously speaking.
Yeah. But again, like, I don't know, the windows should all operate. They should open.
Yeah.
They should not be rotted.
So as things have progressed, that space has progressed too. So
right.
I think we just called them pre-renovation.
Yeah.
But now I'm like,
Might have been the time to strike.
Yeah. I was hoping it would still be like boarded up, crack sold here on the front.
Yeah, I mean, it was easy to see the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, let me put you in touch with some designers. You guys got to start on a plan. It sounds
man.
like, because you're gonna need. It sounds to me like you're really gonna need that to have the next conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least some sort of rendering. I mean, I know you've got branding and colors and stuff, but when you look at that big space, where do you want this much dining room or this much dining room?
Yeah.
That leads to, do I need 7 tables or 27 tables? That they're not going to buy those.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
You need, in my opinion, you need all of that very ironed out before you go to an investor.
Yeah.
Because not that the tables are the make or break, but the whole thing, you might need 100,000, you might need 500,000. Commercial kitchen is 80 grand without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just equipment and fireproof walling and, good walk-in fridge. So are they doing that? Are you doing that?
Yeah.
How big is it? Are you just doing burritos? Might be a different kitchen if you're doing burritos and something else. I don't know. I'm not a burrito chef. So so there's definitely some choices. I feel like at least having better ideas would help probably your conversations with, the building owners and the realtors.
Yeah. We have a couple concepts from a few different places that we are mimicking. And combining, and also trying to fit and see how that goes with the space. But also, the main thing is also operation, the ease of operations. I've worked in a couple kitchens, and they don't really care how the kitchen is set up. They're more concerned with the dining area, and I get that. But man, when you got a full flowing kitchen that's just firing on all cylinders, that stuff's it makes up for the dining room and the size and how many people you can fit in there.
I mean, I think triply so for you on a spot where half, if not more, of your clientele are getting a burrito to go.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about the dining room. They want a delicious, fast burrito.
Yeah, and out, man.
Yeah, so have your head chef help you with your kitchen design.
Yeah.
Don't just guess.
Yeah.
Be like, hey man, do you want it on the left or the right? Because now's the chance where it costs the same to buy the thing.
Yeah,
But I've got to put the hook up. Where do you want it?
Yeah.
Help sketch this shit out for me. I don't know if you have your chef already, but that, I would bring that dude in for sure, or at least the restaurant manager, whoever's going to be that person.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've got some restaurant experience. You're not bringing in some greenie to run your first restaurant. Well, this was awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming out and kind of sharing the story. I definitely wish you nothing but luck on trying to get it started. I haven't seen the other space, obviously, but that first one that we went to, I mean, it is a prime spot, ease for back door, for service kitchen. You even had a parking lot there. It really does just check every box.
I actually know the owner of the parking lot.
And you know the owner of the parking lot. And the second story of renting it out to somebody, making it a bar, a game room. I mean, who knows?
Man.
The options, there's so many options, and I don't have to tell anybody how explosive Raleigh is. I mean, it's never going to stop.
Yeah, man,
so,
it's not stopping.
That's awesome. So for anybody listening, especially an investor, wink, wink, who might want to reach out to you, what's the easiest way to get in contact?
Oh, man. Personal email, or you can go to the IG. That's our only social media presence right now. But email will be my name, Ervin.Williams, ERVIN.Williams01@gmail.com. Or you can go to the IG. You can email the company, info@ampmglobal.org. And reach out to us there.
And you said the Instagram is
the Instagram is
AMPM
AMPM Burritos.
Okay.
PM Burritos.
Like a clock, people. AM and PM. Not that hard. Yeah.
You can reach us at any of those platforms. If
Okay.
you want to DM us, you can DM us. If you want to email us, it will go straight to the AM PM Global email.
Awesome.
But also my personal email, I check all the time and in contact with a lot of people on there. So.
And if for some reason that was too complicated, just get in touch with me and I'll shoot you over. Like, not that hard. And as always, the Orange Hammer podcast is on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think we're even on Twitter. Find us, follow us, do all that if you enjoyed this at all. And if you need CRS contracting in the Triangle Triad area, you can call my cell 845-489-6057. Or email me Corb, C-O-R-B, at WSDG.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Ervin, thanks so much for coming, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for rescheduling or accepting the reschedule.
Oh,
really
absolutely, man. This was no problem at all.
This was fun, man.
All right, bye, everybody. The Orange Hammer podcast is proud to be brought to you by Rachel Z with Rachel Z Real Estate Team Realty. From the Triangle to the Triad, call Rachel Z at 919-323-6068.